So I have to be honest. Okay, so I have to be honest. There are some people on our side, on the media commentary kind of side, the political commentary, Hassan Nabi's, Adam Mockler's, Pac-Man's, those type of people. Kyle Kalinski's Majority Reports, Why I Hate Politics, these kind of guys. I pretty much like them all, but there's just one that when I'm not a huge fan of Adam Mockler's at all. When he did his interview with Hassan, it just seemed so adversarial. It seemed like it was so like trying to pin him up against something, as if Hassan hasn't thought about these things. It was clear that he didn't think about these things, that Adam Mockler didn't think about these things, because he was asking them questions that we already heard most of the answers to. Some of us innately just knew. But Adam Mockler is young and pretty new to this space by comparison to most people who've been paying attention to politics, specifically on YouTube. Everybody know political commentary and political coverage on YouTube as a whole, I mean, in the 2010s, completely different. This is all new for them, him specifically. But I don't like him specifically because of one reason. I think he's a liberal. I really, really do. I don't think he's a progressive. He calls himself a progressive, and every time he does, I'm kind of like, chill out. I don't know. And I watched this interview with Gavin Newsom, and it made me think to myself, the contrast between his Hassan interview and his Gavin interview, completely different. I mean, he's even looking like he's trying to dress like Gavin a little bit. So I found this podcast by Ebb and Flow, the Ebb and Flow Knows podcast. Shout out to that dude. His joint's pretty dope. And he got a dope song too, actually. So check it out if you can. But I watched it on his platform and just notice the difference.
Adam Mockler did an interview with Gavin Newsom, and this is in the midst of this broader kind of conversation about Gavin Newsom as a potential contender for a 2028. Despite how far away that is, Gavin Newsom has a way of just sort of angling politically. So there's just been a lot of talk about whether or not he's a viable candidate. And
Gavin Newsom is one of the Democratic superstars that's been kind of in the run for president for a long time. He's the typical kind of like cookie cutter, what you would expect for the modern American president to be. Think Barack Obama-esque, but more capitalist, kind of polished, but a white dude. You know what I mean?
Most people on the left feel that he is not a viable candidate because he's too slippery and he's too attached to like corporate power.
Yeah, and he looks like a used car salesman. He really, really does. Also, he was married. His girlfriend was Kimberly Guilfoyle. That's Donald Trump's Jr.'s wife. To me, that alone is questionable judgment. Seriously. And it also makes me think his roots to more capitalist or predatory capitalism is deeper than we thought or we cared for.
And pro-business type interests. So that's a little bit of what Adam Mockler asks him about here, but it's a very quick interview. It's only about 14 minutes long, at least what it got clipped down to. And here's just sort of a glimpse at the type of access that a guy like Mockler is starting to get and the type of guardrails that might place on your commentary or your interview questions. So here's Mockler with Gavin Newsom.
So let me put an asterisk to this video because I don't want to sit here and just say that I just don't like Adam Mockler for just not liking him's sake, right? I don't mind Adam getting access. I don't mind Adam. I mean, he has great talking points. He's well read. He is extremely knowledgeable. He does his research. He comes up against formidable. Formidable is a stretch, but he comes up against, established Republicans, and he mops the floor with them. My issue is him and other Democrats like him, their posture towards progressives and the lack of grace they don't for some reason they don't want to ever give us. And then when you see him have an interview with somebody like Gavin Newsom, you think to yourself, you call yourself a progressive. There was nothing about this interview that made me feel like he was asking questions that progressives would be asking Gavin Newsom. I mean, hell, look at the Van Lathan interview. Van Lathan didn't even try to be offensive, but he was so honest in his approach that his Israel question offends Gavin Newsom, and he didn't even try. Crazy, right?
Newsom.
Well, one thing it's not is a sanitized version. It's not a political book. And I say that with respect, and I don't mean to malign or suggest.
So they're right away talking about his lame ass book that nobody's going to read.
Pointing to any other books that are out there, but historically politicians, particularly those that are in elected office, tend to sanitize so much of what they write. This is anything but.
Speaking of people who are not good to look up to, it feels like so many people in Trump.
Like, look at what Adam is even wearing. Like, does he usually wear his clothes like that? Sports jacket, shirt. Probably has on some like Cole Haans.
Trump's administration have gotten caught lying, straight up lying about their involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Elon Musk lied about his involvement. He was actually trying to come to the island. Trump, of course, has lied about his involvement every single day. But someone that recently was really caught lying was Howard Lutnick, who said that
Gavin's like, yo, get on with the question, bruh.
He had cut Epstein off in 2005. He said he got the heebie-jeebies, wouldn't let his family around him. But now we learn that he had visited Epstein's island with his family. He's in more trouble for alleged corruption with his family this week. Do you think Howard Lutnick should resign, be fired? What type of accountability would you like to see for these people who are just lying their asses off?
There's been no accountability across the spectrum. When the irony is we're seeing there's been accountability around the globe, but not in the United States of America. And Lutnick's just exhibit A. He may not, I don't know, there's nothing to suggest he was a perpetrator of certain acts, but he certainly was an enabler because he knew at that point about the accusations. This was after these accusations were out there. He can't claim ignorance on the front end. In fact, he himself claimed knowledge and said he discussed me. I had the heebie-jeebies. And then we find out, well, that didn't stop him from going to the island and who knows how many times. So, we know what we know, but we don't know what we don't know because so much has been redacted. This cover-up continues. So, look, I'm all for accountability. This whole Epstein file, though, it's all about just the elites protecting the elites. It just goes to the worst.
Aren't you one of the elites, Kevin? Yo, what is he talking about? Yo. So look, this is one of the parts that I'm talking about. It's a layup question. He just said, oh, elite's bad. Donald Trump hypocrite. Me no likey. You no likey? Yeah, Gavin just jumped right in. Yeah, they did this. They did like it was one of those questions like there was no substance there. Like, what, me as a voter, what am I getting out of that question? Out of that answer? Nothing. That these niggas are terrible and corrupt?
Worst of what our instincts were.
Engrossed?
That there's certain set of rules for thee and then the rest of us. And
We know
Trump
that
is sort of
already,
the
guys.
manifestation of that. Lutnick falls very nicely knitted into that as well. And so I really like what Asaf said. I'm going to Georgia next, about this Epstein class. It was very resonant because it sort of captures, it layers so much of this mosaic that's being knitted. But Lutnick needs, I think, to come clean, and he needs to explain himself a hell of a lot more than he has.
My team and I talk a lot about how the Democrats for the past decade have been unified by our opposition to Donald Trump, and we need something affirmative. We need something we can fight for. And in your state of California, CalRx has been something that you have been pushing the envelope on. Insulin is down to $11. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the first, we just did our own, what we call
Right here.
CalRx, so it's our own branded insulin. We're not subsidizing it, we're just lowering the cost. And by the way, that distinction for Democrats is an incredibly important one. We don't want to subsidize the inefficiencies of the system. We want to use, dare I say, free enterprise, capitalist tendencies as a government and compete against the private sector. They did everything to stop this, but we got the price down $11
Yo,
a pen.
what?
And it's just one of many things we're doing. We're doing with diapers next. We just did a bunch of free.
Bro, shut up. What? Bro, you just let him just talk and talk and talk and talk. He's not saying nothing. A bunch of stuff that he wants to do, a bunch of stuff that sounds nice that if he got to do, he would do it. But like, Negro, move from in front of them TVs and have a real conversation.
Free diapers. Now we're going to start getting our own branded manufactured diapers, which is a big deal because half of the births in our Medi-Cal system, our Medicaid system, California Medi-Cal, half of them are people in that system can't afford the cost of diapers. So we're trying to do it in a lot of categories, and I think it's an interesting approach. So it's not just about coverage, it's about lowering costs. We have to have that mindset. California is the first universal state in the country, regardless of pre-existing conditions, ability to pay, or your immigration status, which I know is controversial, but we've done it. 6.4% uninsured rate. If it's not the lowest, it's right there, near the lowest in the country. But now is one AI in every way, shape, or form, profound pieces of that cost puzzle and solution. AI is going to define our future, profound ways. I think that 2028 election is going to be an AI election every.
Now, he's going to go into talking about AI, and I want you guys to pay attention to the fact that nobody wants these data centers to go up. Now, he seems to be enthusiastic about it. Every single other person who has to live in these communities who have to deal with the environmental impacts, the drain on resources, the fact that it is making people actually sick in, I think, Memphis, and they keep popping up all over the place. There are hundreds of them popping up all over the place. And he's just loving talking about it instead of speaking to the populist message, which would be we need to curb these data centers. But he's from California, where they get most of their money from, tech billionaires. So, but it's just, and Gavin and Adam has nothing to say. Like, no pushback, no, it's just yeah.
way, shape, or form.
What is he there for?
We want to remove a lot of these.
But then-
my team and I have been talking about how we got to get these special interest groups, these disproportionately powerful interest groups and lobbyists out of politics so we can make
Look at
real
how Gavin's
progress
smiling.
for the American people. Interest groups and lobbyists.
Look at that fucking face. He can only make that face because he knows he's getting paid by these people that Adam doesn't know that he's getting paid by.
Out of politics so we can make real progress for the American people. I want to list off some special interest groups, and will you say yes or no if it'll take money from them?
All right, let's go.
What about big oil?
Oh, seriously? You're talking to the wrong guy. Like literally, big oil's number one enemy is me. So not a chance in hell.
Big tobacco.
And by the way, they're the polluted heart of this climate crisis. Big oil and the lies and the mistruths they've been perpetuating the American people and the global world and the globe are disgraceful.
Big tobacco.
No damn way. Yeah.
What about AIPAC?
AIPAC never have and will never will.
Were you promised to fight back against these disproportionately powerful special interest groups that are hurting the American people?
Look, I think you follow the money. Every time something goes wrong, follow the money. I support it. I continue to support it. We've struggled with it, but public financing, we do this. We're constantly doing what we call clean money campaign, and we have to do more and better in that respect. But it's the revolving door, special interest and lobbying, all the self-dealing with stocks portfolios. I think we need to have some version of term limits for Congress. I mean, we have to be a reform-oriented party. And that's something in the past we were defending the status quo. Trump took advantage of that. Democratic Party needs to lean in. And when it comes to lobbying reform and it comes to these corporate special interests.
A lot of what Mockler is doing here is he's kind of throwing him these questions to give him the opportunity to say something that will get some headlines or kind of change the narrative when it comes to Gavin Newsom. And you can see that with this thing that he says about Howard Lutnick. Do you think Howard Lutnick should resign or step down, or what do you think? Not that that's an unfair question to ask, and I think Howard Lutnick should step down, but you can see that Mockler is angling to try to get some kind of headline there. Gavin Newsom doesn't quite give it to him. He's more savvy than that, but he's also doing that on these issues. And also, I mean, Gavin is selling this book that he wrote. I didn't even know that he wrote a book until this interview. I'm not going to bother talking about it much more than that, but he does make these kind of digs at Kamala Harris, talking about how, well, this is not a political book. Okay, whatever. So don't buy Gavin Newsom's book, but his answers when it comes to some of this corporate stuff is interesting. Because, again,
ultimately what I'm trying to highlight is the fact that Adam Mockler, to me, is a liberal. He, 100%, if he can have all the radical progressive policies that we all want and fight for and believe that we can get directly without incrementalism and voting in Democrats that are just going to waste our time, I think he has a long way to go before he understands what we understand as progressives. And God bless him. Maybe he never has to go through it. Maybe he just stays a blissfully, happy liberal Democrat the rest of his political life, and he don't got to deal with grappling with the things that us who have had our heart broken by this democratic system have had to deal with. So peace and love, guys. Thank you for checking out the video. Hit a like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps with the algorithm. It really helps get the message out. I appreciate it. Progressives need to work harder and stick together. So I'm not going to necessarily say that I can't stand Adam. I think he does good work. I really, really do. He just annoys the shit out of me because liberals are annoying and they always think they're right, but they haven't gone through what we're going through. So one time for you, Adam, it's just, stay the fuck out of our way.
It's been corrosive, strutting down this muddy road, made more friends than foes. Did so many shows, said yes to a lot of them. Few weeks later, I don't hear peep out of them. You gotta stay focused on goals, don't ever switch up. Keep applying pressure while these other artists hiccup. Drift up from the socks to the cloth, that's on my head.